Welcome to the Prophecy Club. I love you. I really do. I mean, I know it's hard for us to actually see each other through the radio and everything, but I feel like I know you. I feel like you're listening, and I just want to say I love you. I look forward to the time when we're in eternity together and we can spend eternity loving each other and seeing each other and whatever the wonderful things we get to do. But I just wanted to say I love you. It is a pleasure. It is a privilege to come to you and speak to you and do my best to prepare you for the things that are coming, because there is a great storm coming. I'm going to start this broadcast, which is going to be talking about, I guess you would say, preparations. I guess that's what you'd say I'm talking about in this one. So I'm going to start with a disclaimer. I'm not suggesting you go buy a pistol, rifle, or anything that can hurt someone. I'm not suggesting you hurt anyone. I'm a pastor, like you. I'm a soul winner. I believe in the power of God to protect us. We want to win souls, not hurt people. In this past fast track, I put this in there. I think it really speaks to where we're going with this broadcast. The topic is long-term storage food. If a new virus, bad enough to kill people in 30 minutes, is coming, like I was shown, 2 people get on a plane with a virus, and before the plane can land, everyone on board will be dead. That's a virus that can kill quickly. I can see why no one would want to come out of our home until the danger passed. And that might even be as long as a year. Can you imagine having to stay in your house, knowing if you get out of your house, you might really get a virus that really kills within 30 minutes? Then, if people burning and looting businesses continue to expand into our neighborhoods, as Pastor Dana was shown, well, we could be hunkered down in our homes, maybe even for as long as a year. Then, of course, if the suitcase nukes go off, spreading radiation, once again, we're not going to want to have to come out of our homes. Okay, the problem is most of us, talking honestly here, really, we do not have enough food and other preparations to last a year in our house without coming out of our house. Think about it. Electricity goes off, food spoils. What do we eat? What do we drink? Now, the reason I mention this is because a little birdie told me that the heavensharvest.com just got a new shipment in. I know it won't last long, but if you go to heavensharvest.com, you use the promo code STAN, S-T-A-N. I don't know where they came up with that. So now I see why God told Leslie and I to get an LTC. You remember the story. About 3 years ago, Leslie woke up with a dream and she said, the Lord told us that we need to go get our LTC. And I said, really? Does it come to that? I mean, where God is telling his ministers of the gospel to go get a license to carry a firearm, really? And sad to say, I should have done something, but I didn't. 30 days later, she wakes up, she has another dream. The Lord told me again last night, we need to get our LTC. Okay, I'm sorry, I should have done it. And I set my jaw, so to speak, that I was going to go do it, but about 30 days passed again, and I had not done it. So one morning we wake up, I turn to Leslie, because a lot of times the Lord speaks to her and she won't tell me. She's very cautious about releasing things, which is, I appreciate that. That way I know that when she does release it, it really is God. So I turned to her and I said, the Lord spoke to you last night, and I tell me, what did he say? She says, like I said. Okay. So we both went and took the classes. We both got our license to carry. Now, did you see this past week the mayor of St. Louis standing in front of his house with a long rifle in his hand protecting his property? Did you hear that he called the police? Now, this is the mayor of St. Louis. The mayor of St. Louis called the police in St. Louis, and the police wouldn't come? Then he called several security companies, and they all refused to get involved. Really? I mean, so if the mayor of your town can't get protection, where does that leave us? He said he had to hide his valuables, and his wife, stood out on the front deck of their house, him with a long rifle, her recording with her cell phone. That was the mayor of St. Louis. Now, if the mayor can't get police protection, where does that leave us? Sad to say, we might be in the same predicament. And matter of fact, that is what Pastor Dana was shown. A friend of mine was over for dinner this past weekend, and we were discussing about this. And just for the fun, I went to Google and I looked up firearm companies that sell firearms. And I was shocked because about the first 4 pages of Google, every one of the firearms dealers, they were almost all sold out. It was sold out, sold out, sold out, and not just pistols and rifles, even spare parts, spare barrels, everything. They were like cleaned to the clock. Not just one, but 4 pages on Google. Did you just get a hint? And now let me make it very clear. I love you, and I'm not suggesting you do anything to hurt anyone. I guess this is probably a good time to talk about Revelation 13:10. So let's go to Revelation 13:10, pulling it up right quick. And it says, "He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and faith of the saints." If you listen to the sermon this past Sunday morning, I talked about this. And essentially, this scripture is saying that during the tribulation, now you got to hear these requirements. During the tribulation, that's not now, that's during the tribulation, when the people that have taken the mark of the beast come after you, not now, not some hoodlum on the street, but when they are sent by the beast, because you do not have the mark of the beast, it's saying, don't turn anybody over to captivity. Don't turn anybody over to the New World Order. And don't kill anyone because they're coming after you because you don't have a mark of the beast. Then the next part of it says, here's the patience and faith of the saints. Meaning, yes, I know this is not what you want. You want to defend yourself. So let me make it clear. If it's the tribulation, if it's the beast that sent them, if those people that have the mark are coming after you because you don't have the mark, then I believe it is saying you are commanded not to kill them. That's the only occasion. Now, again, I'm not suggesting you hurt anyone, but also I'm not suggesting that you let them hurt you either. This comes to us from bluelivesmatter.blue. Headline: City Councilwoman leads protesters in challenging cops after order to disperse. Aurora, Colorado. An Aurora city councilman is under fire from a local police union after she was caught on video challenging police with other protesters during a violent demonstration on Saturday. And it has a video. The body cam video footage showed the incident occurred 12 minutes after officers issued an order to disperse to a violent crowd protesting the death of a 23-year-old. Shortly before police ordered the group to leave, protesters became violent, threw various dangerous items at the officers, but despite the rigorous behavior of the crowd, Aurora City Councilwoman stayed in front, centered the protest, and refused to leave, even arguing with the police, the body cam showed. The article goes on to say just 3 minutes prior to that, when officers were taking rocks and bottles and sticks and plastic bottles full of who knows what inside of them, some of the things that were said were F Pride, it's Wrath Month. The councilwoman wrote on June 15th on her Facebook, apparently it said, "No cops, no KK, no racist USA. All lives don't matter until Black Lives Matter." Now, let me say something about that. Of course, Black Lives Matter, but then white. Like Jesus said in them, Jesus loves all the children of the world, red and yellow, black and white. They're precious in his sight, right? Okay. It goes on to say some of the other phrases were, we're here, we're queer, and we're effing angry for our black siblings. What I'm trying to say here is America is in trouble. The fall of America is in progress. When you have councilwomen out fighting with the police, is that division? I remember when I was a kid, we would watch comedies, and a lot of the comedies would end with this phrase: united we stand, divided we fall. We got to go, folks. That's all. And that's the way the comedy would end. Well, today, we are divided. We are a divided nation. When you have councilmen fighting against the police, this is a city councilman. Next headline: new gun owners say they bought firearms because police might not reach them in time. July 7th. This comes to us from HalTurnerRadioShow.com. New age gun owners say they bought firearms because police might not reach them in time. As pockets of anti-enforcement activists demand that jurisdictions strip funding from police departments, ordinary citizens around the country assert that they are resorting to self-defense and are buying weapons. The assertions come amid a nationwide spike in personal weapons sales. In June, the FBI checked the backgrounds of over 3 million potential gun buyers, according to the Bureau. In the same month, Americans bought over 2 million guns. They give the place where it reports. The demand has so absolutely exploded beyond anything we have ever seen over the last 20 years, no official data can explain the rise. If you walk into a firearms store, they will not ask you the reason for buying a firearm anymore. I saw what happened in Seattle, part of it says, when the police couldn't get there to the protest zone. Alarmed over violent crimes inside the now dismantled CHOP zone, I thought, what if it happens here? I signed up for lessons. I bought a gun, they say. So, too, did a military veteran who lives in Maryland, where the process to buy a firearm is more cumbersome. I never felt a need to have a weapon until COVID, but even then, I didn't go buy one, said the veteran, who grew up around household weapons in the Midwest. Then the riots hit. The police weren't doing anything about it. If the police weren't stopping people from breaking into businesses, I figured my home was next. 2 weeks ago, the veteran took a firearms class, the required first step for buying a gun in Maryland. When the state-mandated waiting period is over, he plans to buy a pistol. Concerned citizens have flocked to gun owners asking for help and advice. I get calls every day from church friends, old friends, asking to go to the range, said one pastor. People are concerned about their safety. I don't want to use my gun ever for anything but going to the range. But I want to know if I need it, I have it. Well, let me say something else. Just because you have it doesn't mean you even know how to pull the trigger or aim it. I mean, you do, in my opinion, need to not only go and take the LTC, but you need to spend some time with your gun and making certain that in the dark, you know how to check, make certain it's loaded, you know how to aim it, and you know how to hit what you're aiming at, and perhaps more important, miss what you're not aiming at. These people that just start putting it out at the end of their hand and pulling the trigger, well, it's kind of like one guy says, here, I'll tell you the story. So many of you know I play racquetball, but I'm not very good. And I'm an old guy, and I'm playing a young man's game, and I almost always get beat. But here a couple of years ago, I took some racquetball lessons because number 5 in the world was there. I could take racquetball lessons from number 5 in the world. So along about the 4th lesson, he says, okay, I'm going to hit the ball down the side here. I want you to just hit the ball right straight back down the side wall. I couldn't do it. Finally, he says, okay, here's how you do it. He says, if you want the ball to go here, you hit it here. If you want it here, you hit it like this. And he explained. Well, once he explained to me how to guide the ball, I said, what you've done is put sights on my racket. I says, before it was like a hunter that would go out into the woods and pull the trigger and say, wow, I hope some game runs into that bullet, because I didn't know where it was going. Well, see, same thing with our ability to hit. We also want to know that we have the ability to miss. In other words, we don't want to hurt. That's our objective. We do not want to hurt. But at the same time, we don't want to be hurt, right? Okay, that's our objective. We're soul winners first. The Lord's going to protect us. We're not going to tempt the Lord. But at the same time, if the point comes, the point comes. Okay, so again, let me remind you, I'm not trying to suggest you hurt people. Okay, let's go on. He says, I don't want to use my gun ever for anything but going to the range. He tells friends and listeners to view weapons as personal protection equipment. It's just like a fire extinguisher in your house. You're responsible for your own safety. You have to hold things down. You may have minutes, hours, or days. You can't put out a fire with harsh words. You have to have a show of force. The Maryland-based veteran said that 40 to 50 people took firearm classes he attended. Many were women. He said most were first-time gun owners. Everybody felt like we needed protection. Before, we all took it for granted that the cops would come, but now, maybe not. As a further confirmation, May 27, 2016, in my prayer closet, I said, Lord, thank you very much for showing us these prophecies about the future, but I need an overview. In other words, tell me what is going to happen in the next few years, kind of an overview. Well, and I specifically asked that he would speak to either Leslie or Pastor Massey. Well, the very next morning, sure enough, Pastor Massey calls. He said, I had a dream last night, but I don't understand it. I said, tell me the dream. Well, as soon as he started saying it, I knew what the dream was saying because it was an answer to my prayer. It was an overview of what's coming. Now, listen to what he said. He said, well, the first scene, we were plowing. Very nice things are happening. Good things like, 7 years of plenty. Okay, that was kind of like several months ago. That was like back before January, before March, before the COVID hit and all that sort of stuff. He said, then the scene changed and we came home. Someone dropped off 2 children in my house. One girl thought that we were the best to take care of these young people. They were scared that they would have no food. There was no food where they were living. Okay, so that ought to tell you what's coming. No food, okay? Then the scene changed. I was sitting there and someone came to my home to hurt these children. They said, let me talk to you. Now listen to this part. I said, well, before I talk to you, let me get my gun because I don't want to talk to you without my gun. So I got my gun, loaded it with 3 cartridges, and talked with them. Scene changed. There was a main road in front of my house. I saw people like a herd of people walking down this road. So many people like a herd of cows or sheep. The road was packed. They were all close together like sardines. I believe those are people leaving America because the attack has taken place. Then the final scene. I saw that they began to get chopped up. Only a few of them, like maybe 1 or 2 out of 1,000, were escaped. He says, I saw a chopper, some kind of like a machine, chopping them in half, chopping off their heads. I thought, wow, this must be the end times. Only a few were spared, and we all went into hiding. Now, the point is, I want you to notice that the times of the good times, I think they're gone. I think we're not going back. I suggest that Dana was kind of saying with his prophecy there that probably the schools will not open this year. If they do, they'll probably have to close again pretty soon. At least that's the picture that Dana gave us. Then the next picture was no food. The third picture was you have to have a gun to be safe. Now, we've all watched Westerns where they have to walk around with a gun on their hip to be safe. But is that where we're coming to? I mean, because if they do defund the police, if they abolish the police, it may be that, brothers and sisters, we are back in the Western days to where we all have to carry a gun to be safe. I mean, really? It's hard for me to imagine that. And sad to say, it may be coming this year. Headline, July 6, Gavin Newsom tries to end singing in church. This comes to us from the conservativeinstitute.org. He said the government tried to tell worshipers that they can't go to church. Now the government is trying to tell worshipers how to worship. Fox News reports that California Governor Gavin Newsom has now banned singing and chanting in churches. Places of worship must therefore discontinue singing and chanting activities and limit indoor attendance to 25% of building capacity or a maximum of 100 attendees, whichever is lower. Now you see, when the Bible says he that overcometh, and then it gives like 8 really big blessings for those people that overcome, the overcomer is going to be the person that sees the beast, hears the beast, but does not worship him, does not take his mark. This is only the beginning. It's going to get worse. And that's the reason I said Sunday. If you haven't listened to that message, go listen to it. I said Sunday, the word patience means don't quit Jesus. Because what's coming, it's not going to be just difficult to go to church. It's not going to be just difficult to sing. It's about to be difficult to live if you're a Christian. The order goes on to say and recommend to churches to have people sing over the internet from their homes. The rationale, of course, is coronavirus prevention. Recently, several areas of the country have been experiencing an increase in coronavirus cases. California is no exception, and it goes on to tell about the cases. However, this is the interesting part. Newsom's new order has the backing of the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, which has put out studies showing coronaviruses are, quote, augmented by the act of singing. So we have COVID, so we need to stop going to church praising our God. But Christians would say we have COVID, we need to be going to church and praising our God. The Dems say we want a Green New Deal. Christians say we want the Bible back in schools. Dems say we want the borders open for all. Christians say we want the churches filled with all. The state wants higher taxes. The church wants higher offerings. The WHO wants us to wear a mask. Jesus wants us to carry his name. Stop complaining about our alternative lifestyle. Christians say stop sinning and doing wickedly and repent, and we'll shut up. The Dems say we want basic income for all. Christians say we want a basic understanding of the Bible for all. Dems say we want housing for all. Christians say we want the Bible taught to all. The Dems say stay 6 feet apart, wear a mask, stay at home, or you might die. Psalm 91:5 says, Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence, that's COVID, the pestilence that walketh in darkness. We should not tempt the Lord thy God, so I do think it is important for us to do everything we can not to catch these things, but I do believe that God is going to protect us. Let me go back to what Pastor Dana Coverstone said. He said, I saw churches surrounded by mobs of people yelling, shut it down, burn it down. I saw people so hateful towards the church. I saw people harassing believers going into and coming out of church services. But the thing that stood out in my mind the most is the people that brought the most problems to the church members were those people that sat in the pews, not listening, not paying attention. They were raised in church all their lives. Now they want to walk away because they do not like the true preaching, the true word of God, the preaching which says this is a sin, that is a sin, you cannot walk, you cannot do this. Those were the people who were screaming and throwing rocks. They had baseball bats and guns in their hands, throwing threats at all of us who were coming out of the church or going into the church. The anger was once again by those who had fallen away. And I believe the reason they fall away is because the rapture doesn't happen. There's no pre-trib rapture. Nobody goes anywhere. And when the trouble hits, at some point, even the most staunch pre-trib believer is going to be shocked, and they're going to have to admit, okay, there was no pre-trib rapture. Jesus didn't come to suck anybody in the ear, and they're going to get mad. I talk about this in my new book, How Pre-Trib Won. They're going to get mad. And they're going to come back and they're going to do exactly what he was talking about here. Don't be surprised if you don't see some of these rapture-disappointed Christians. Brothers and sisters, trouble is on the way, and we need to do what we can to prepare, but understand the best preparation is time on our knees in our prayer closet. Everything starts there. Then God could lead us to all of the rest of it. I also just learned that Heaven's Harvest has more food in stock. That's right, freeze-dried, the coveted freeze-dried food in stock at heavensharvest.com. And if you put the promo code in STAN, it helps your Prophecy Club, and it also gets you a packet of heirloom seeds free. heavensharvest.com, promo code STAN, S-T-A-N, heavensharvest.com, STAN. Emergency food is almost sold out everywhere. However, because of our relationship with heavensharvest.com, they have made an entire truckload available to Prophecy Club in a few weeks, where others are totally out or waiting for months. They have all sorts of emergency supplies and food at heavensharvest.com. Their food comes in square stackable buckets, breakfast, entree, protein, fruits and vegetables. heavensharvest.com makes it easy to order. I recommend you have at least 12 months of food for each person in your family. Receive a free box of heirloom seeds when you enter the promo code STAN. That's heavensharvest.com, promo code STAN. heavensharvest.com, promo code STAN. In 2017, I memorized the book of Revelation just as a simple project. Surprisingly, I began to receive information on 30 revelations and 2 visions beyond what is found in the Bible. God showed me a secret door, which is based upon a single word found in Revelation and Leviticus, linking the feasts to the prophecies. When linked, a person enters into an understanding of Bible prophecy not previously known. Even though I've been in the world of Bible prophecy for 40 years, frankly, I did not know anything of what is in this book. One prophetic word described it this way: there is a lock that I have put over a word in the book of Revelation that I'm going to open to you. It will turn so many books written on the end-time message into obsolete books. That's this book. Topics are: Jesus returns on what feast? The secret of the feasts. Who are the two witnesses? What is the morning star? The judgment seat explained. The great white throne explained. The nations explained. What is the shout? And the parables explained. Seals, trumpets, and vials go in what order? Two amazing prophecy charts on the back flap, 12 inches by 9 inches. Imagine a book on prophecy that brings a fresh, new, accurate perspective. I don't want you to get one book for $20. I want you to get 5 books for $30 or 10 for $55. It's called The Secret Door to Understand Bible Prophecy, available at prophecyclub.com. The Secret Door to Understand Bible Prophecy. 1 for $20. No, don't do that. You want to get 5 for $30 or the best deal, 10 for $55. prophecyclub.com. In my new book, Miss the Mark, I expose the 9 deceptions the beast will use to deceive, if it were possible, even the very elect. Since Lucifer is only given 3.5 years to rule the world, but given 6,000 years to prepare for it, is it possible he has set up a 9-point plan so well thought out, so cunning, will deceive all whose name is not written in the book of life? What would you do if you had to tell a person the most important thing in the world, but you knew they wouldn't believe you? What would you do? Would you tell them? I believe you would. But what is the most important thing in the world to tell a person? The answer is, don't take the mark of the beast, because those taking the mark do not get soul death, but eternal torment in hell. But how do you tell them? Give them Miss the Mark. It is designed to be given to anyone, even if they've never heard of the Bible, Jesus, even if they're in another religion. It takes them from a blank page to making sure they will never take the mark. It's thin and easy to read. 1 for $20, but don't do that. Instead, we make them available in lots of 10. 10 for $25, 20 for $40, 40 for $60. That's 1 for $20, but don't do that. 10 for $25, 20 for $40, and 40 for $60 at prophecyclub.com. That's Miss the Mark. Don't take the mark of the beast. prophecyclub.com. As you know, I make many broadcasts referring to a list of dreams, visions, audible voices I believe are from God, given to Dimitri Duduman, Michael Boldea, Leslie Johnson, Henry Gruver, Shane Warren, Terry Bennett, Maurice Sklar, Augusto Perez, Doug Metzger, Bree Keaton, and more. Now you can have your very own copy. It's called God's Warnings to America. 1 for $20, 5 for $30, 10 for $55 at prophecyclub.com. God's Warnings to America at prophecyclub.com. When a nuclear device is detonated, the wind blows the dust settling on everything around you. Then you breathe, eat, or absorb radioactive iodine, which then kills your thyroid and kills you. A simple fix is to immediately take potassium iodate pills, which flood your thyroid with good iodine, keeping the radioactive iodine out. You need 1 bottle per person per exposure for everyone from infant to adult. 10 bottles available for a gift of $225 or $25 per bottle at prophecyclub.com. Shelf life from 5 to 8 years, potentially more if you refrigerate or freeze it. That's prophecyclub.com, potassium iodate pills. CornerstoneAssetMetals.com is owned by a prophecy student who reads his King James Bible and supports Prophecy Club. Call CornerstoneAssetMetals.com for gold, silver, palladium, rhodium bars, or coins. They can help you roll over your IRA, 401k, so tell CornerstoneAssetMetals.com Prophecy Club sent you. The easiest way to listen and watch Prophecy Club YouTube videos is to download our free app from the App Store. This is not to be confused with WatchProphecyClub.com, where you can watch 26 years and over 300 DVDs for a subscription of $20 a month or $200 a year. The app allows you to watch our YouTube videos and listen to our radio programs very easily. Go check it out at your app store. At WatchProphecyClub.com, you can have instant access to over 200 titles on a recurring monthly subscription of $20 or yearly for $200 at WatchProphecyClub.com.